think we can convince them. The challenge is...
You realize that's been said...
The challenge is,
by our count,
as my father, used to demonstrate, he gave you 2 tries. And after that, there was violence.
What we need to see,
what is the
president saying?
Is dramatically lower than what we see today. And
I don't know that that's
not lower than it was before he decided to launch the war.
Normally, it's inversed.
So in this clip, we're going to see a black conservative trying to run cover for Donald Trump's strategy within the Iran war. But none of the panel are letting him get away with it. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts towards the end. Let's get into it.
Good evening. I'm Phillip in New York. Tonight, a major escalation. The U.S. has launched a new wave of strikes against Iran as talks between the two sides continue to stall. This latest round finishing up just a short time ago. The Pentagon says that the attacks are in response to Tehran's unwarranted and continued aggression. Trump had this warning, warned this could happen, writing on social media that Iran is taking too long to negotiate a deal and that it'll have to pay the price. And his frustrations came to a head today as he bemoaned the slow-going pace of talks.
I've been working with Iran for a number of months, and it was just tap, tap, tap. I don't know what they're doing. We were really close to a deal, but they keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers. We have a fully negotiated, but they're tapping and tapping. And I said, all right, let's give them a couple of more days. They're tapping because it's a meaningful paper.
It's a sharp change in tone from the president, who for months now has insisted that a deal is right around the corner.
We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. They want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal.
Sir, could you foresee a deal in Iran this upcoming week?
I do see a deal in Iran, yeah. Most of the points are already negotiated and agreed to. We're very close to making a deal. We were very close to a deal. I don't think there are any sticking points. We're very close to having a very, very good, strong, powerful deal.
The frustration is starting to show, and Trump is putting more red lines on the table, more ultimatums. And it seems to me that it's not disconnected from the economic news that we got today, which is that inflation has spiked once again, now at 4.2% annually for the month of May. It is having an impact on the economy, and even Trump's own timeline. We've blown past that so many times at this point. He's starting to show his frustration.
Well, the president is showing his frustration because the economic conditions are applying political pressure to him, but the economic conditions are applying political pressure to the Iranian regime, too. They're struggling under this blockade, which probably should have been part of the kinetic phase of these operations from the start. I'm surprised that the president called them off when he did. He said that he had spoken with his Iranian counterparts, and this promised wave of strikes, which both he and the Secretary of Defense said would be very robust and sustained and ongoing in order to create coercive conditions for diplomacy, a breakthrough in diplomacy. And then they called it back, which suggests to me that they're not going to get the kind of breakthrough that they want. They want to apply kinetic pressure to this regime, and to particularly to the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps components that are being very hardline, very recalcitrant. And yeah, this is the part of these strikes. Most of these strikes were focused on the Hormuz region. This is
you're talking about today's strikes, because actually I'm listening to you and I'm like, what you're saying could have been applied
3 months ago.
It could have been applied to any number of junctures in this conflict.
The strikes on the Hormuz region, this looked like to me the beginnings of the straight clearing operation that this administration needs, because that is the last linchpin in this campaign.
But to your point, I mean, they're not really doing that. Like, they're not really going that far. Trump keeps saying that this is the last straw. If they don't do this by tomorrow, then. But then he keeps saying that over and over again. So the Iranians are basically like, okay, we'll call your bluff.
Listen, you cannot execute foreign policy by temper tantrum. That's what Trump is doing. This is constant temper tantrums because he's not getting his way. The Iranian regime isn't House Republicans. Donald Trump is not used to people who are not going to just bow to his will when he wants to. He's used to getting his way. The Iranians are a very complex, formidable opponent. They have been at this for decades, and they have patience, and they don't have a democracy where they have to answer to the political pressures of the citizenry. That's what happens when you're negotiating with an authoritarian dictatorship that's ruled by mullahs. So, this is embarrassing for Donald Trump, and it's embarrassing for the Americans, because for us as a country, looking at the President of the United States blowing past all of these different deadlines and making these, veiled threats. CNN did a compilation, 38 times? He said we were almost there for a deal. We've got a deal. Well, it's just right around the corner. I mean, it feels like it's Transportation Infrastructure Week again. 2 weeks, it'll be 2 weeks. This is real. These are real world consequences, and the downstream effect of this, not only for our economy, but politically in this country, is, he's feeling the heat on this, and it's embarrassing.
I got to tell you, I'm less embarrassed today than I was 24 hours ago.
Are
when the
you
president
really?
is actually, yes. Oh, well, aren't you? You just said that it's, well, Terry, you just said it's really embarrassing that the president makes threats and doesn't act on them.
Yes, but
this
isn't a coherent strategy. This isn't a coherent strategy. Launching bombs because you can launching bombs because you can is not a strategy.
Going on Truth Social and saying that he's going to wipe away that civilization, that he's going to bomb the shit out of them. This is just bad. It's bad because it began, 4 months ago. It was supposed to last 2 weeks. There was supposed to be regime change. Donald Trump has found out that the Iranian mullahs are not Delcy Rodriguez in Venezuela. He's not going to find somebody that he can work with. I desperately want this to be over. I want this to be over in a way that the United States got something out of all of the pain that we have sustained for the last few months. But I fear that the Iranians have figured out that there are elections here in 5 months, and that because of the economic pressure, that then turns into political pressure, and there's elections, and people want this over.
It sounds like you would like more kinetic operations, more attacks in order to get the outcome.
I want a peace deal. I actually want a peace deal, and I think this week has not been. I mean, this is a weird way to get to a peace deal, right?
I don't think so.
With Israel bombing and Iran bombing, and now the U.S.
I think that's
bombing.
precisely how you get to a peace deal.
Well,
with
go ahead,
Iranians.
Horace.
A couple observations. One is that the people that are being negotiated with in Iran are sending a signal that is different from the people who are engaging in the strikes and wanting to continue the hostilities. It is very, very likely that after today's round, all that happened was that those people called in and said, please, we're ready, we want to talk, and we think we can convince them. The challenge is,
You realize that's been said.
Challenge is,
by our count,
as my
40
father,
times or so by Trump over the
used
last
to
3
demonstrate, he gave you 2 tries, and after that there was violence.
Which
What
two
we
tries are you
need to
referring
see,
to?
what we need to see, is that same attitude that Billy Cooper had with child discipline with the Iranians.
But we've already,
we
we
need to
are so
continue
past that.
what was started this morning,
But
and
Horace,
it needs to continue.
We are well past that. Trump has given them tries. He's called it off. He's given them more tries, called off the threats, given them more tries, called off the threats. This has happened many times at this point.
It sounds like you really want us to go forward with this kinetic action.
Well, here's,
which, if that's true, sign me up.
But actually, here's what I'm going to put on the table. Is I actually think that the threat of force is no longer working in this conflict.
It's Chicken Little now.
It's because now the Iranians are like, well, we'll take some blows, and we still won't have to give up our nukes. And we'll just keep going. The strait will be closed. The leverage that we have is still there, and we don't have to make a deal. So I don't think you guys keep saying more attacks, but I'm like, the attacks also are not working. So
wait a minute. There's also a consequence to these kinetic actions, is that we are depleting our arsenal. Our weapons are at levels that are concerning to a lot of folks in the military.
This is the reason for a $1 trillion defense budget, for things like this.
This is why you don't decide to just launch bombs and get into kinetic activity when you don't have a long-term plan. This is why you don't keep our men and women deployed, forward deployed with an unlimited amount of time just because Donald Trump feels like it, and then, maybe we will, maybe we won't. This is no way to behave as commander-in-chief with something that's important.
Let me just play this. This is Trump is confronted with the inflation numbers today, which are a direct result of this war. And here's how he responded, which, frankly, I will say will probably live in infamy. Listen.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No,
negative
I love it.
for
The
Republicans
numbers
in
look
terms
great.
of trying to hold
You know what I
up the
really
House and
love?
Senate?
I love the inflation. Oh, when the war is over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock.
I love this.
So yeah, I mean, ad makers are busy.
Oh, yeah.
They're working, but I also think that just like the promises about a deal being on the horizon, Trump's promises about the gas prices are going to fall like a rock are also being received by the American people as, just the boy who cried wolf. You're just always saying the thing over and over
at
again.
the
Let me
old-
let Camille have
Well,
the word.
it's the messaging, and I actually have a question for you and for you, Noah. It's the messaging that is most disconcerting to me. Certainly, that response to the inflation question is disconcerting, but it's kind of a piece with the way the negotiations have been conducted. We've seen reporting in recent days about just how schizophrenic the administration has been. You've got the negotiators who are saying one thing to their counterparts in Iran, and then the president they get back to the president, and the president changes the terms on them in the last moment. To the extent you're conducting business like that, no one knows what to trust. Certainly the American people don't know what to trust when they hear from you and you say, this will be over in a matter of weeks. In fact, it's already over. We're not even at war anymore. We've already got a peace deal.
The
It's in place.
market
And it's
is
still
saying
not.
that the price
But what
of
does the
oil
president say?
is
Can you
dramatically
trust what the
lower
president
than what
says?
we see today. And
I don't
so-
know that that's
It's not
the
lower than it
standard.
was before he
that is
decided
the
to launch the
standard.
war.
And
That's the
normally
standard
it's
here.
inversed.
Camille, it is funny, though. I agree that the president's rhetoric is probably the worst part of his approach to this war, and I'll sign on to any critique of his approach rhetorically. But it is funny, what you just described is he's changing the terms, what have you, he's mercurial. That's precisely how the Iranians negotiate. Aragachi, foreign minister, wrote in his book that the Iranian Bazari style of negotiation is just to be intractable and to change the terms on you and to exhaust you to the point where you give up concessions.
So this is strategic.
I
not
don't think it's
schizophrenic.
strategic. I think it's driving them as crazy as it's driving us, which is the Iranian style, and it's probably driving the Iranians
So
crazy
then you would
too.
admit then it's
both
folly
sides-
that Trump thought this was
it's
going to be
not
over in
folly.
like 2 weeks.
And
No,
it's
wait a
not
minute.
folly.
Trump thought this was going to be over
And
in
if
like 2
both
weeks.
sides are being schizophrenic and let's just use your word, and putting, basically putting things on the table, taking them back. I mean, that does not seem to be a recipe for a deal.
It's not a recipe for a deal, but the deal should be one that is commensurate with our strategic objectives. And by all accounts, the Iranians weren't putting anything on the table that was commensurate with our strategic objectives.
I agree.
We're engaged in coercive diplomacy now. That's what you call this sort of thing. And Tara, I will concede that the president shouldn't have given himself a window because you never know how operations are going to unfold once you start. And he was sacrificing tons of political capital by saying something.
He was on a
and not
sugar
doing it.
high from Venezuela.
But now he's doing something, so you cannot say that he's sacrificing credibility while he's doing exactly what he said he would do.
Now he's doing
Right.
something?
What's the plan?
What is he doing
Today's
now?
attack.
What's the plan?
He's executing attacks on Iranian targets
To
in
what
response to the. The end,
What
as I
is- and what has
understand
it
it,
accomplished?
is to force the Iranians to come to the negotiating table in earnest
It's
with
not working.
genuine
He's done this
concessions.
already multiple times, and it hasn't worked.
Well,
We'll be decimated now.
24 hours. I just want to note that Trump also announced to great fanfare today, both in the Oval Office and on Truth Social, that he's directed the military to execute a secret mission, not so secret anymore, to support oil tankers and commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz. And then he declares that this wildly successful effort is because the United States of America controls the Strait of Hormuz, not Iran. Meanwhile, the New York Times reports that this mission that he's talking about, that he claims is secret, has been widely known. It's been underway for a long time. It's been talked about publicly. And it has not produced a Strait of Hormuz that is open.
Wait, but no, it's not
The Strait is
closed.
not- the
But
Strait
by your own
is-
definition, it's not closed.
I agree. I mean, that's right.
Is it,
And
is it,
it's
but
not-
is it, but
it's
is
not-
it more
it's neither
open
closed,
than closed?
nor is it in Iran's control.
Right. It's
If
neither
we're
closed nor is it
exfiltrating,
open.
well, it is in this
open and
The
Schrodinger.
Iranians say that
Schrodinger
it's
Strait.
closed.
Schrodinger's.
It's proof that it's not. Now, the fact that the president shares and discloses things, this is baked in the cake.
Wait.
We've seen
Not
that since
I'm just to
2015.
be clear, is it open or is it closed?
No,
It's not
it's
closed
not
the way the
closed.
Iranians say it is.
Right.
Fine.
It's not closed
Is
with
it-
military force.
Okay, are we able to get what we got out of it before, which is free transit?
No.
Obviously not.
No.
But
So
have
we're getting
the
more.
Iranians
It's
stopped
not
all traffic
open.
through the strait as they say they have and are?
But
no.
and I just want to note on that front, they have said in response to this that they are going to now
Bring it on.
They're now going to attempt.
But
I don't know
this
how
is like
this will work. They're going to attempt to close the whole
Remember,
thing.
last week,
So
Marco
we'll see.
Rubio was in front of Congress testifying, and he testified that the war was over.
Right.
Well, if the war was over, then what the hell is this?
Well, you can't have a blockade. A blockade is an act of war. So what is it? We have a
Right, but I mean,
blockade.
they
don't. We're at
keep
war.
saying
We're not.
things
Right.
We're gonna
like
leave it
if we
there,
don't
my
have
friends.
eyes and ears.
Because they don't know what they're doing.
Next for us, Donald Trump calls Graham Plattner a thug and says,
So I'm gonna be a bit real with you guys here. I started this channel because I genuinely love Donald Trump and I can't stand MAGA. And this segment of CNN's Newsnight is just another example of why I cannot stand and I cannot take MAGA serious. The copium that these guys are doing for this guy, the shilling that they're doing for this guy, when in reality, all it is that he has done is he's messed up. These guys just need to say what it is. He's messed up. He's got it wrong. And he just needs to pack up and go home. At this point, Donald Trump is only still within Iran purely because of pride, purely because of ego. That's the only reason. Because it doesn't, outside of that, it doesn't make sense to still be there. It doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. This is not serving the American people. It's not serving the Iranian people who, let's remember, in the beginning, that's what he said he's doing this for. So that the Iranian people can rise up and take back their country. It's not serving them. And you know what? It's having further ripple effects to the rest of the world. Let me tell you guys something. Usually, I fill up my car, and to fill my tank from empty costs about 95 Great British pounds in the United Kingdom. Now, it's hovering between 130 or 145 Great British pounds to fill my car every single week. So the effects are not just being seen in the United States and in Iran, but the effects are being seen all around the entire world. All because Donald Trump has got too much ego. Caroline Sunshine, who is a Republican, and I'm no fan of her, she even said it herself. The best thing Donald Trump can do right now is pack up his stuff and go home, but he's not going to. And the reason why we know he's not going to is because he's got too much ego, too much pride, and let's be real, he is doing this at the behest of Israel. And the fact these Republicans, especially the black Republican, I believe Horace Cooper, I believe his name is, literally, there is nothing that Donald Trump that can do that can be deemed wrong. And these guys are shitting and humiliating themselves for it. It's honestly quite embarrassing. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this segment down in the comment section below. And do the usual, give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hype up the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.